I'd like to take a moment and teach you the self-coaching model. This model was developed by Brooke Castillo, and she is the CEO of the Life Coach School, which I attended. The self-coaching model starts off with uh, circumstances. Circumstances are something that a hidden camera would show. It is objective, it is something that has happened in the past, and it is something that could be proven in a court of law. Thoughts. Thoughts are a sentence that you're telling yourself based on the circumstances. Feelings. What feelings are generated from the thoughts that were created by your observation of the circumstance? And actions. What are you physically doing or resisting doing as a result of the feelings that you experienced? And finally, results. What are the results of those actions in your life? And the beauty of the self-coaching model is that we can take any thought, any action, anything that happens in our life, and we can plug it into the model. And it's an amazing self-awareness tool. I'd like to put the model in action. Many of you who are emergency responders will find this scene very familiar. Let's imagine for a moment you have a victim in that passenger side, and you were a firefighter that responded to this call. And it took 17 minutes to get that patient from the time that you arrived until the time that the patient was removed from this vehicle. Let's see how this works out in the model. So first we have our unintentional model. The unintentional model is basically what I like to consider autopilot, or what we're going to think and feel and experience without the awareness of how our thoughts impact us. So our circumstance is that we have a victim that is trapped in that vehicle collision. The thought was, if I was better at extrication, we would have gotten that guy out faster, which will result in you feeling depressed. Your actions as a result of being depressed will be reliving and replaying that event in your head. A short temper with your family or crew. You may find yourself distant from loved ones. You may be buffering, which is trying to solve an internal feeling with an external item, such as alcohol, social media, overeating, or you may find yourself taking unnecessary risks. Your result as a result of your thought that I wish I was better at extrication is your depression causes damage to your relationships at home and at work. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to use this model in an intentional fashion. And I'd like to keep the circumstances the same. We have the victim that is trapped in the vehicle collision. It took you 17 minutes to get him out. Your thought was, we did everything possible to get them out as fast as possible. You feeling confident? Your actions would be at work. You discuss and learn from the incident. You review and train on extrication techniques. And at home, you may find yourself telling the loved ones about the incident and the feelings that it created. As a result of this intentional model and this intentional thought, you do not allow a difficult incident to impact your life at home or at work. What I'd like to talk about for a moment is the difference between critical incident stress debriefings and coaching. A critical incident stress debriefing typically only occurs after a traumatic event. Your attendance is required typically by your employer, and it is in a group setting. The one challenge that people have in a group setting is that it's not natural for men and for first responders to share their feelings. And it's very rare to have follow-up. Once the critical incident stress debriefing occurs, usually within 48, 72 hours after the event, very seldomly do you get together as a group or with individuals and you talk about what had happened and what you're feeling as a result of it. And a critical incident stress debriefing is specific to events that only happen on the job. I'd like to contrast that with coaching, where coaching is done at a time of your choosing. It is not as a result of an acute stressor. Your attendance is encouraged but optional. It is private, confidential, and one-on-one. And it can be for any reason, for issues that occur at home or at work or any reason at all. And you can have reoccurring meetings. You can meet weekly, monthly, as often or as little as you need. And your appointments can be with a same coach or with a variety of coaches. It's completely your choice. What does a coaching session look like? A coaching session can be any number of lengths, commonly 25, 45, 60, or 90 minutes at a time, depending on how much time is needed. Once you select the date and the time, you receive a Zoom link. And just like all of the other Zoom meetings that we've attended, you click on the link when it's time to go and it pops up. The great thing about coaching is that you are in charge of the meeting. You can bring whatever you'd like to have addressed and get coached on, or bring nothing at all. And we can work through other things. We have a whole toolbox of things that we can dig through that will be of benefit to you. And at the end of the coaching session, you're typically sent a link to review the meeting if you so choose. I'd like to take a moment and talk a little bit about how having a healthy mind and a healthy body, what techniques that you can use to assist in that. The first one is exercise. First, I would recommend that you balance cardio and resistance training and not to excess. As I talked about before, the concept of buffering is trying to solve internal feelings with external things. So if you are going to the gym to avoid feelings, or going to the gym to avoid going home or anything else, then you may want to take a closer look at that and see what feelings are present that are making you buffer. Sleep, especially on your days off. If you work long hours, you need to recharge your batteries. Try to set and keep an appropriate time to sleep and wake up. My schedule right now is I usually try to get to bed at 10 o'clock at night and usually wake up around 7 or 6:30 when I'm at home. Drink lots of water and cut down on high sugar and flour diets. You want a green, plant-based veggie diet to supplement your nutrition. The next step I want to talk about is limiting your technology use. We've all become accustomed to spending mindless hours on our phone. Be aware of your media usage. I do know some people that set alarms and they set reminders and they set limiting apps and devices on their phone to assist them when they're looking at the phone too much. But being aware of the time that you spend on technology is something that you can look at. Something as easily as putting down your phone and picking up a book might be a good way to wind down the evening, or to stay mentally working without having to stare at a screen. Connect with others. Find personal connection in those that you are around. Find your tribe. It goes a long way. Whether it's people from your station, people from your community, a religious group, whatever it is, something that you have that you enjoy, a physical fitness activity, find your connection and stay with them. And ultimately, my last technique is just to stay positive, because that is available to you. As a first responder, we've been called industrial athletes. I really like that term. As an athlete, having a coach is completely normal. In 2019, the NFL added team psychologists to supplement the 10 plus other team coaches. Dr. Carr, a team performance psychologist and behavioral health clinician, says, it takes mental health out of the shadows and elevates the clinician as an important part of each organization's success. The stigma quickly vanishes when people recognize that learning to manage stressors and eliminate distractions provide a huge performance advantage. And what I'd like to offer you is that getting coached and having a good frame of mind is a massive performance advantage when it comes to emergency services. I'd like to leave you with this quote that I found very valuable to myself. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. It does not merely mean the absence of disease or infirmity. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this presentation. I've got my website down there on the bottom if you have any questions, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.